It is the morning of January 16th, 1991. Within the next 24 hours, coalition forces will undertake a precision aerial campaign against Iraqi forces in what will be known as Operation Desert Storm.
So guys, welcome back. You are highly welcome back here. My friends, my teachers, my supporters, our supporters. I'm not saying my, it's for us, okay? Our supporters, our well-wishers, and our subscribers, our commenters or commenters. Yeah. Thank you guys. I did a video talking about the fact that we finally got this channel monetized within a week, within a month, right? Yeah, that was fast. And
Pretty fast.
and so we are reacting on Operation Desert Storm. Can you imagine that? I wanted to do the reaction video when you were not there. That's what I thought
That
about
would
it.
have been so wicked.
I thought about it. I said, no, let me not be weak. Let me not be wicked this time around. Let me be good, like a good guy. And so I waited for you.
Okay.
Great. So this is Operation Desert Storm. And this is the first day of the Iraq War in 1991. And I don't know what to expect because I know it's going to be crazy because people have been
Asking about like recommending you to do it. I've
Yeah.
actually seen it, so
yeah,
it's gonna be massive.
it's going to be massive. So let's go, guys. We cannot wait. Yeah, no. For you who hasn't subscribed, I wish that you do, right? And you comment. We are always going to learn. Sometimes we react on videos that don't have the complete information, and people come along and they teach us. They tell us what information is missing, what information is inaccurate, and we do get to learn. In this business, we are a bit selfish because we get to learn more from you guys than you learn from us. Okay, let's go.
Right.
Storm will see
Yeah.
almost 4,000 aircraft mobilized by both sides, with coalition
4,000.
forces taking part in over 100,000 sorties over the following month. Today, we take a look at some of the key events during the first strike, and with a little help from DCS, attempt to recreate some of them for you.
What is that? That looks like F-14.
Fighters, right?
Yeah, F stands for fighter, A stands for attack.
This stands for cargo.
Yeah, C stands for cargo, and K stands for tanker. So yeah, and then SR for reconnaissance and
During the morning of January 16th, 1991, final preparations are underway for a huge strike against Iraqi forces. A large coalition air force had been assembling in the Saudi peninsula over the previous few months, known as Operation Desert Shield. In the early hours of January 17th, they are to begin a precise bombing campaign against a variety of Iraqi targets, coordinated to the minute for maximum efficiency. The Iraqis are currently involved in military operations in neighboring Kuwait, as they have been since August 1990. To the Iraqis, Kuwait must be controlled. They have always held a claim on the land since the breakup of the Ottoman Empire, but in the 80s, this became a more serious issue. Kuwaiti oil production had reached very high levels, creating a market disparity with Iraqi production, thus threatening the Iraqi economy. To stabilize the increasingly fragile Iraqi economy, an invasion of Kuwait was the perceived panacea. The Western response was to condemn the action, and a UN deadline was set. If Iraq did not retreat from Kuwait by January 15, 1991, action would be taken. The time for action was now at hand. The opening strike would employ a variety of aircraft spanning multiple eras of military aviation. Leading the air campaign would be the latest in coalition air power at the time, F-117 stealth bombers, F-15Es, and new Tornadoes to name a few.
Yeah, for me, how do I know that it's an F-15? The F-15 has two tail rotors, like those things that control the plane in the back, two of them, and then two engines. Also, the engine intakes, where the air enters the engine, right? There are two of them. But the F-16 has only one and then one engine with one tail rotor behind. And then from there, you learn others. I don't know everyone though.
Right. So
Yeah.
learn about the F-15 and the F-16.
Yeah. F-18 too. F-22, F-35.
What about F3?
There's
Is it
F-4.
What about F3?
No. There's F-5. And then there's F-14. Yeah.
Older aircraft from all over the West would also take part. B-52s, F-4 Phantoms, F-111s, Buccaneers, and even Victor V bombers. This
What?
wide assortment of coalition aircraft was unlike any other air campaign. January 16th marks the final day after several weeks of mock operations. Each day for several weeks, coalition aircraft have taken off and been given orders to gather in various formations, flying circuits around particular areas in the northern parts of the Saudi peninsula.
You see
The
those
goal of
you
this
see those planes that have that thing coming out from the back? Those are tankers. They're supplying fuel to other jets.
Few.
Yeah, fuel like a jet fuel now. Yeah. So it keep them flying.
initial phase was to accustom the Iraqis to the massive radar presence of aircraft in the sky, which could not be hidden, and would set off alarms everywhere. The idea was that if Iraqi early warning radars were being triggered every day, then it would make it harder to predict just when an attack would take place. Today, Wednesday the 16th, all the same flights are ordered to take off and form up. To Iraqi radar operators, it's just another day of massive yet benign air activity. This time, however, it will be far from benign.
Oh, look at that.
Over the Atlantic Ocean, 7 B-52s armed with AGM-86 cruise missiles are en route to their mission area over the eastern Mediterranean. They have made a long non-stop journey from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. In a few hours, they will release their cruise missiles to designated coordinates, turn around, and fly back to their home base without stopping.
What are you understanding? What are you understanding? These B-52s are flying from the United States to Iraq. Iraq is across the ocean. These things are going to fly to a point where they release their missiles, their cruise missile. Cruise missile is just a missile that is cruising through the air that flies like a plane.
Yeah.
So it's going to fly into Iraq and do whatever it's doing into Iraq, and these things are going to fly back home. Back to home to America without landing. That means you know what it means? Thousands of kilometers. No, that's a flex. No, that's a flex. That's flex. That's
A
military
35-hour
flex.
round trip, it will be the longest bombing mission ever accomplished.
45 hours. That's two.
Meanwhile, in the
almost 2 days
Persian
flying
Gulf,
straight.
US warships prepare Tomahawk surface-to-surface missiles for similar strikes. These Tomahawks, along with the slower cruise missiles, are all timed to hit their targets simultaneously, announcing the beginning of the operation. As evening sets in, two other important elements are preparing. The first is a flight of 10 Nighthawk F-117s. They have the dangerous job of flying into Iraqi territory and circling over the capital,
What is
Baghdad, waiting for the strike. This will be the first test of the
F-117.
aircraft's stealth capability in combat. Baghdad, at the time, was arguably the most heavily defended city in the world, with heavy anti-air coverage. Once the initial missile strikes have occurred, the Nighthawks are to drop their weapons.
Look at this jet. The thing looks. It doesn't even look like a plane, right?
Yeah, actually, at first, I wasn't seeing it like a plane. It's when I want to kind of see. It's as if we want
Yeah.
to fly. If I'm saying that it's actually a plane.
So you try to talk a bit louder so people can hear you. I get it. The thing looks. It looks. I don't understand. Somebody asked me to react on this thing. I went and searched. I didn't even know that was a jet.
On specific targets over the city at 0300 hours, a key communications center in the middle of the city, and several command bunkers. The other crucial element are two army groups of Apache attack helicopters, 4 in each group,
You know this one?
and each led by a Special Operations MH-53 Pavelo. Following the initial surprise attack, coalition aircraft will need to enter Iraq. 2 key radar emplacements have been set up by the Iraqis on the border to prevent this. The job
Yeah,
of the
these are
Apaches is
radars.
to fly low, using night vision and infrared to seek out these sites, and then
Radars are
destroy
used
them
to-
using a variety of weapons, including Hellfire missiles. Once these sites are destroyed, a corridor will be open for coalition aircraft to enter Iraqi airspace to continue the operation.
Wow.
With everything in place, the green light is given for operations to begin on 8.
I want to make you to understand, right? Because I might be getting more impressed than you. Okay, a radar is like a device that is used to detect another plane that is coming.
Mhm.
For example, say you can put something that detects when your neighbor is coming to your house. So a radar is like detect when other planes are coming. And so for these guys to just go in and destroy this radar, it's like your neighbor comes into your house to detect to destroy your cameras that would see him when he's coming. But he will sneak into your house and destroy that camera. And then let his other people come into your house. So that's how the radar is. So these guys are going to go in and destroy these radars
Yeah.
and then let other people fly
Yeah.
into the Iraq freely because they will not be seen before getting attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not easy. They have special pilots that are trained to destroy these radar sites. Yeah.
each hour at exactly 0238 hours on January 17th. This will be arguably one of the most ambitious American military operations, with so many moving parts, all interdependent, and needing to engage at exactly the right time.
Bad.
This phase of the operation will be the most crucial, and if one element fails, it will cause multiple contingency issues. Nevertheless, everything has been meticulously planned, and confidence in synchronicity is high.
In the night. But
It is now just after midnight. The clock ticks over to January 17th. Aircraft are already in the air as more begin to take off. Some are forming up behind refueling aircraft. Everyone waits for their next orders. The Iraqis likely don't suspect much, as the air activity mimics the previous few weeks of flights. However, further to the south out of Iraq view, other formations are also in the air, far more than the Iraqis had seen so far. AWACS aircraft have been airborne for some time and are currently underway directing the 2 groups of Apaches towards the radar emplacements in Iraq. Flying low, these 2 flights led by Pavelos head towards their designated targets. 2 Iraqi radar outposts. Meanwhile, the F-117s have reached Baghdad and begin circling the city. Despite the heavy sound coverage, it seems the Iraqis are unaware they are overhead. With radio silence and no radar, the crews rely on the time as their only cue to begin the strike. The B-52s have reached position. With the green light, they release their 36 cruise missiles and turn to make the long flight back to America. These slow-moving cruise missiles will take several minutes to reach their destination and have been aimed at critical infrastructure, including power generators and comm sites. At the same time, the Navy launches its barrage of 116 Tomahawk missiles aimed at further comm sites, missile factories, and command centers in Baghdad. These are an assortment of explosive warheads and warheads filled with long strips of filaments designed to spread out over power transformers, causing electrical issues. The last to release their firepower is the Army, whose Apaches reach their targets slightly ahead of time. Because of the slightly premature arrival, they choose to hold back and hover some distance from the outposts. The Apaches, viewing the radar bases through their targeting systems, notice the lights suddenly go out, followed by figures moving around outside. It is likely the Iraqis could see or hear the helicopters. Nevertheless, at 0238 hours, the Army are given the go-ahead to fire and unleash rockets, missiles and cannon fire onto the 2 bases, destroying all critical infrastructure and becoming the first shots of the war to hit their targets.
let me put this together, okay? This is getting too much, guys. Damn. Okay, let me put this together. What I'm understanding, right? They are B-52 bombers flying from the United States with cruise missiles. There are formations towards from the south of Iraq coming from Saudi Arabia, and then there's other formation coming from the east of Iran. Right? And all these people are time synchronously to reach their destination. Almost all of these people at the same time. I understand it. Like there are many of you leaving different places to come and attack people, and all of you will leave from those different places and attack all of those people at the same time. Even the F-117 Nighthawk that they just shot here, the things were already above the city, and the people did not detect it.
Yeah, that's something like that.
It's like somebody moving in your house, and you cannot see the person, and the person is getting ready to pin you down for the people to come into your house and beat you. I mean, I know this operation was not just carried out by America, right? But somebody said in the comments that 70% of the forces were brought from America, and obviously 90% of the technology.
Yeah.
So we can just say America did this.
Yeah, of course. America
Yeah,
did
because
it.
I'm legally biased towards
They did
America.
it.
So what? We don't have time, guys.
We don't have time, guys.
We
Let's
can
go.
talk later. Let's go right here.
5 minutes after H-hour, the bases are reported destroyed, and the first formations of jets are given the go-ahead to enter Iraq at 0243. The first to enter would be a pair of EF-111s, flying low with terrain following radars, leading 22...
Wait, I wish to ask something. Does it mean that was 5 minutes after that
These other jets entered.
yes, they entered and destroyed.
Yeah, because the cruise missiles went ahead, and then the helicopters also went in. And then with the F-117s that have already attacked the radar site and all of the other things that they sent in now, these other jets. I see this is the F-15 and probably the F-16 and F-18s and things like that that will walk in now. Like they are beating the person
But
down.
they show that the first destruction took place after the first 5 minutes.
Yes. They always time everything down to the second.
Oh my God.
They're not going fast. No, they are not going like 3 p.m. No, they say 4 minutes past 3. They will know that 4 minutes past 3, you'll release your bomb and things like that.
F-15Es against airfields in western Iraq. Meanwhile, a flight of 3 EF-111s head towards Baghdad to give electronic aid to the F-117 crews if they need it. To keep stealth, the F-117s are under radio silence and have active radars off. There will be no way of confirming the outcome of their mission until they are back near Saudi Arabia. However, Western reporters are on the ground believing there will be an imminent attack. At the Air Control Center, they watch a CNN broadcast from Baghdad, which they believe is routed through a targeted communication center. The CNN reporters say they hear aircraft overhead.
Still hit again, and we can hear jet planes flying overhead now.
At 0300, the F-117s drop their bombs, and the CNN report cuts out.
Now the sirens are sounding for the first time. The Iraqis have informed us.
Iraq, that's a
Command cheers, knowing their mission is going as planned. AA fire blindly reaches into the night sky, and the F-117s turn home. Shortly thereafter, the barrage of Tomahawk missiles began to hit their targets around Baghdad, destroying further communication infrastructure, command centers, and switching stations. Meanwhile, the B-52 cruise missiles also began hitting infrastructure, including power stations and comm centers. Coalition aircraft by this time are streaming into Iraq, thought Saudi Arabia. Notably, fighters such as F-14s, F-15Cs and Tornadoes are tasked with combat air patrol near Iraqi bases, should any interceptors take off. The flight of F-15Es heading westward begin hitting ground targets, including Scud missile sites and SAM sites. Simultaneously, Navy FA-18s and A-6 intruders launched from carriers are heading towards the fight. With the Iraqis now on full alert, fights begin to break out. A pair of Mirage F-1s are picked up on radar, closing in on an EF-111. Using terrain following radar, the EF-111 crew managed to outmaneuver the Mirage, which hits the side of a mountain. The crew is credited with a maneuver kill. The second F-1 is picked up by an F-15C and shot down. Shortly after, yet another Mirage is picked up and shot down by an F-15, followed by a MiG-29, piloted by a veteran pilot of the Iraq-Iran War, with 3 kills to his name. Yet another engagement follows, with a further 2 MiG-29s being picked up on radar and shot down by F-15s, and 2 MiG-21s shot down by FA-18s on a...
Like, I don't usually understand how these guys get to be able to tell these stories from this level of precision, right? Like accuracy. I don't know if it's accurate, but precision, like the time of event, who was shooting down, which jet was where at what time. Like, I'm sure they have to do a lot of research, and we do give a lot of credit to these people that do these videos, okay? And shout out to the people that did this video. Fortunately, we hope that we get to be able to understand how these guys make these amazing videos every day. Okay.
Strike mission. While action is occurring in the western areas of Iraq, much of the southwestern part of the country, leading to Baghdad, is still under heavy radar coverage. Search and track radars are set up everywhere, and suppression of enemy air defenses missions are necessary to clear them out. To do this, flights of F-4G Wild Weasels and FA-18s armed with anti-radiation missiles are sent in with an escort of F-15Cs. They will have the dangerous job of heading straight towards Baghdad and clearing out any perceived radar threats. However, unlike in Vietnam, these suppression missions will not actually require a Wild Weasel aircraft to act as bait. Instead, the Navy would launch 38 BQM-74C decoy drones, which would compel radar operators on the ground to switch on their search and track radars. The now visible radars would be hit by high-speed anti-radiation missiles, destroying over 30 ground installations in and around the Baghdad area.
Wow. With
strike missions still occurring against fixed positions, conventional bombing begins occurring in the southwest of Iraq against ground forces. B-52s move in, along with other bombers.
Sometimes I doubt if we could ever attain this level of sophistication in military planning and execution, and even talk less of equipment, right? If they give us the equipment, can we plan and execute this? Because talking of building the equipment is almost as impossible as
planning and executing the work.
It's almost as impossible as becoming God, because the money is not there, the technology is not there, the research is not there, right? It's not
bombers such as F-111s. As dawn approaches, coalition forces will experience their first combat loss. 2 FA-18s launched from Navy carriers head towards Baghdad. On radar, they see a pair of MiG-25s heading towards them. A beyond visual range engagement begins, with one of the MiGs firing a R-40RD, a dangerous Fox 1 missile designed to destroy supersonic bombers. The missile hits one of the FA-18s, destroying the aircraft and killing its pilot. The sun begins to rise, and the next phase of the attack begins. A flight of 12 Tornado GR-1s are sent over the border into Iraq at a very low altitude, armed with the JP-233 submunition dispenser.
I don't know. I didn't see that quite yet. Let's just go.
Okay, when I see it, I'm going to show you.
Their job is to head towards Talil Air Base, fly over the runways, release munitions, and get out. The aim is to release the JP-233 payload, a mixture of anti-runway bomblets and anti-personnel mines which can lay dormant, as an area denial strategy to render the enemy runways inoperable. Heading in at 200 feet, they all release their weapons. However, they receive far heavier return fire than expected. Despite flying low to avoid radar lock, near the deck they are far easier targets for anti-aircraft guns and infrared missiles. At the same time, 4 more Tornadoes are preparing for a similar strike against another airbase, Al Rumaila, but this time with standard 1,000-pound bombs. They have been tasked with toss bombing these onto the base. This bombing strategy is generally dependent on a targeting system that provides a cue indicating optimal range, after which the pilot must pull into the pre-selected release angle.
Yeah, that's a shadow. That's a shadow.
Alright.
Before the weapons are released.
I've never heard of these jets that I'm mentioning here. I've never heard of them in any documentary, or never read of them before. Interesting.
Find out soon.
Yeah, I'm
Our
gonna
fans
find out.
are going to explore.
One of the aircraft in formation is flown by John Peters and John Nichol. Coming under flak fire, the aircraft begins pulling into the climb to release the payload. However, Peters and Nichol's aircraft experiences a fault. There's an issue with the release queue. They keep climbing, now higher than they're supposed to be and still unable to get a release queue. They abort and pull back down. However, they are hit by a portable surface-to-air missile, which easily locks them up at this height. Peters and Nichols eject, but are quickly captured by the Iraqis. With the sun now up, the situation on the ground becomes visible. U-2 spy planes are sent up to monitor the situation, with a particular emphasis on searching for Scud missile positions. Coalition forces were well aware that Saddam Hussein's first response would be to fire Scuds not at coalition forces, but at Israel, whom he viewed as the primary enemy. While initial plans included far more resources to use against airfields and other aircraft, these resources were retasked after little activity from the Iraqi Air Force. Later in the day, French Jaguars are sent into Kuwait to hit Scud missile facilities. These older aircraft were still good for the job, however several reported damage from ground fire. A-10 Warthogs also saw heavy action, attacking a variety of targets further north, including radar positions and Scud sites. This opened up further corridors of safety for coalition aircraft coming in from Turkish airspace in the northwest. As evening sets in, tasking continues non-stop.
Non-stop, continuous combat. At least they're doing something. Like it's not even at least like
They are doing it.
they're doing it. Because Russia did not even fly into Ukraine, which is just at their doorstep. America is doing this halfway across the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Russia is there just with like Ukraine is sharing boundaries with them, and they cannot fly over Ukraine like that. They don't even have the guts to try it. They have equipment, but who knows? Paper equipment.
From older aircraft such as A-6 Intruders hitting bases to F-15Es, there is continual air domination. During the opening day of Desert Storm, non-stop missions were flown. In fact, over 2,000 sorties were reported to have been flown during the first 24 hours, and this same intensity will continue for almost every day for the 5-week-long air war. The Iraqi Air Force would lose 8 aircraft during the opening day, whilst coalition forces would lose roughly 19. After the 17th, the Gulf War air campaign would continue until February 23rd. The massive coalition air force was simply too large for the Iraqi Air Force to launch a counter-offensive. Despite being one of the largest air forces in the world, the Iraqi Air Force decides against going out in full force, leaving the majority of their aircraft on the ground. They would attempt several retaliatory strikes in the following weeks, but these would meet heavy resistance and were smaller in scope. This led the Iraqis to start a mass exodus of their aircraft to Iran, who they had previously been at war with, in the hope that one day they would get their air force back. During this period, coalition forces attempted to create a wall of fighters along the Iran-Iraq border to prevent this exodus. The Iraqis would launch Operation Samura in an attempt to break through. In one instance, 2 MiG-25s jumped a 4-ship formation of F-15Cs, leading to a dogfight. All aircraft would break off from the fight, with the 2 MiGs returning unscathed, whilst one F-15 returned to base with damage, but no losses. Samura would mark the last Iraqi Air Force operation of the war, after which the Iraqis decided to ground their aircraft in the hope of preserving these costly assets, rather than losing them in the conflict. Thus, the war in the air was largely over, while the rest of the campaign would focus on coalition air forces striking ground targets. This would culminate in the coalition ground invasion to liberate Kuwait on February 24th, while the US Air Force, Navy, and Army would see much success in the initial phase of the war. The US Marines, supported by USMC aviation Harriers, Cobras, Hornets, would also have their time to shine, particularly during the often overlooked Battle of Kuwait International Airport, in which the 1st Marine Division, outfitted with older M60 tanks and Cobra gunships, managed to rapidly smash through Iraqi defenses into the city, leading the way far ahead of the more modern Army M1 Abrams groups. All in all, as we have seen, these first strikes of Desert Storm exemplify the exceptional planning and technological ability of the US military and coalition forces at the time. While you could put it all down to numerical advantage, on closer inspection, each element during the first strike could have been isolated and repelled, and given the contingency, this could have meant disaster. Yet working in lockstep and guided by precise planning, these forces were able to successfully undertake a complex sequence of events, resulting in overwhelming air superiority.
What do you have to say? I have only one word.
Say it loud.
Wow.
This is just
Wow.
wow.
Gangster.
I just like the way they do their thing. I mean, it's sharp, very accurate, and punctual.
Yeah. Talk loud.
But it's loud. How do you want me to talk?
If you guys are not getting high, you let me know. I'm going to post something to be squeezing her to talk a bit loud. Okay. Yeah. That's America. And one thing I've come to agree with them is that I will never be impressed enough to stop being
Of
impressed.
course, because the moment you think you're impressed, the next one is going to get you even way more impressed than you really think you are. Because at this point, you feel you're impressed.
Yeah.
Wait for the next one.
Wait for the next operation, guys. And the next video is going to be wild. Okay? That will probably be the longest video we ever do on this channel.
Of course.
Yeah. And so, since you subscribe, thank you. Leave that comment and leave a like. Thank you. And if you did not subscribe,
Please do subscribe.
thank you because you're going to subscribe
Yeah,
now.
thank you.
And we're going to be launching our channel memberships so that we'll be able to get a microphone, right?
Yeah, microphone.
Yeah, get other
Oh,
equipment
yeah.
like a camera
Mm-hmm.
because we're just using a phone and
Yeah.
our laptop is old and our video quality is. So we want to improve, guys. So if you have a way of supporting us,
Please do support us.
we'll be very grateful if you support us. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. We love you.
Love you.
Yes.